Hello and welcome back to Rise of Radicalism. I'm your host, the one and only Monk Crusade. Today we're playing as the Turkish National Movement. Hey, before the video starts, I'm gonna be playing the Fin Bavaria mod at 100 subs. Turkey's saver in a deep coma. After being hit by a Greek artillery shell in our justifiably righteous campaign against the Greek savages who attempted to erase our whole ethnicity from our land, our founding father has had the unthinkable happen to him by just a single artillery shell while on his horse. Devastatingly, this has left the Turkish national movement fractured, coalition on and divided as external forces finally come out of their shadow to exercise their evil nature of foreign influence on us. Clinging to life, Mustafa Kemal Pasha now has the most unjustifiable fate to man, seeing his movement split into different sections where there are amounts that cannot be counted. The only thing we can do now is move forward, regrettably without the guiding hand of our founding father. To make things worse, as of current, the fractionalization that is prevalent nowadays is only going to get worse as time passes. As Kemal is drifting further and further into the afterlife, with nationalists or reformers vying and clinging on to their share of power, which will inevitably lead them to clashing once Kemal is gone. Or maybe there's still hope for him to wake up. We will follow in his footsteps. Convene the Grand Assembly. While the situation stabilizes somewhat as the aftermath hits the ground and reality begins to set within our nation and its ranks, we must convene the Grand Assembly to determine what we need to do moving forward without our beloved Kemal Pasha. In this convention, we will set the framework for how to move forward, picking leaders, and how to approach the lingering instability within our nation as fractionalism still runs rampant within our nation. However, with the fractionalization that we currently have within our leadership and even the Grand Assembly itself, we must tread carefully in this convention as it could make or break our nation. Rally the Turkish people. Due to the instability, rival factions within and outside our government have been trying to rally our people as being boosted by our government's decapitation with the comatose state and our saviors in Mustafa Kemal Pasha, and as such, we must take the initiative that rival factions have stolen from us to rally our own people to persuade them once again that the national movement has their best interests, which the rival factions do not have. Restoring the people's trust by rallying them back to our movement will be the building blocks to renewing our momentum to unifying Turkey, allowing us to recruit faithful soldiers to our cause once more, building up wartime ethic during times of conflict. Choose a new leader for the movement. With our late leader still being in a comatose state and the Grand Assembly being in de jure paralysis without a leader, we must come out and choose a new leader for the Turkish national movement, so we can continue like normal on our goals to finally liberate all of Turkey from the yoke of oppression and colonization. This shall be done by vote of the Grand Assembly, assuring that the process which leaves the person with the most capability to lead the nation with unanimous support from the new leader of the Turkish national movement. This will ensure that our late leader can rest without anything on his chest about running the nation he tried to save in his final moments. Fevzi Pasha. The rise of Fevzi Pasha. Blood spilled meaninglessly is blood spilled in air. The marshal's words cut through the air of the assembly. The proposal he has submitted has caused outrage among the radicals, who seek such rapid reform that it'll surely collapse the nation. After 10 hours of debate, the assembly has decided Fevzi Pasha, the marshal, shall help steer the movement and lead it to secure the dream of Turkish unification. Turkey's invincible shield, the Marshal has proved himself to be a force in the assembly, and his reforms are underway. His loyalists have secured the most holds of the most major institution, and the army is preparing for the reunification war. Some have taken him to calling him Turkey's invincible shield, while some hold deep feelings of uncertainty. The Marshal's new secret police force has ensured compliance within the reform process truly needed to keep stability in these trying times. He might not be Kemal, but he certainly comes close. Begin the reunification effort. Now that we have mostly recovered from the Izmir fiasco, we shall resume the great offensive. We will avenge those who have fallen and bring justice to traitors. Eliminate the bandits. The so-called Green Army, commanded by the socialist traitor Turkish Yazov, is an Islamic socialist band force that has contaminated and plundered the city of Yusak since the Izmir fiasco. We must suppress these socialist bandits before it's too late. Okay, and here we go. Dethrone the Sultan. Istanbul, Ottoman city, called Constantinople by the Sultan's loyalists. The city where the illegitimate and weak Sultan continues his regime. We must put an end to this nonsense. We will avenge the martyrs and bring justice to these traitors. Yay! Throw out the Bolshevik rats. Despite our efforts in the Great Offensive, dealt the final blow to our army, and without most of an army, the communists grew in strength unopposed. As our movement began to crumble under its own weight, the Turkish Communist Party held its first Congress in Trebizond, and created its own communist state. Now that we have recovered from the Battle of Izmir, we must march back to Trebizond and teach these Bolshevik rats a lesson. Finally they go. Sheikh Saeed's last breath. Sheikh Saeed has initiated the Kurdish rebellion aimed directly at our cause. We stand alongside against the Eastern Army and work out together how to swiftly dismantle the oppressive regime. In the Ittihadist regime, the Committee of Union and Progress was founded as a secret society by medical students in 1889. Over the years, their actions have led to the slow decline and eventual collapse of the empire. It is obvious that the CUP is the main reason for the collapse of the empire and all our defeats. Recently, the CUP members have created their own state south of Mustafa's Kemal fell into coma. We must eliminate their corrupt state and decide what will be their fate. And here we go. We got Turkey. After an hour and 30 minutes, we got Turkey. Arisen like a phoenix. Our nation was decimated by the War of Independence and the Izmir fiasco. Many believe that our country will never recover and truly unite. However, Mustafa Kemal gave us hope that there might still be hope for our nation soon after he got hit by Greek artillery and fell into a coma. All nationalists went silent and nervously awaited news of the Kemal's condition. News never came. After years of brother war with the leader asleep, our nation has finally united under a single nationalist banner. We have risen from the ashes like a phoenix. Miracle! Mustafa Kemal wakes up! A month ago, we finally unified Turkey and defeated the traitors. To make our victory even more sweet, it would seem that Mustafa Kemal has finally woken up and on his way to full recovery from his wounds as he received the Great Offensive. Everything is going well, and Mustafa Kemal is about to hold a speech announcing his goals to re-enter politics and fight for Turkey once more. However, rumors are spreading about some Greek who is not pleased with Mustafa Kemal waking up. No! Someone has a gun! Get down! Dun, dun, dun. Da da na 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 yeah. Fatima Haider Pasha's coup. Capture Van. More reforms, more reforms. avenge the Arab rebellion. Iraq and Iran went. Let Greek blood stain the fields. And there the Greeks go. The great trial manifested. And so, a nightmare descends upon Greece. Kemal Pasha and all Turks that died to those infidels have been avenged. A new age begins. Actually, on second thought, I have an idea. Yeah. And now, I think I'm done. So, stay alright. Alright? Bye. Friggin' packet, yo.